Okay, so we've now got the long notes that we need for each of the chords. Just 2 notes for each of those chords, not the 3. We're going to add now some more notes, and they're going to include the 3rd note of each of those triads. So for our first bar number 1, where our longer notes are C and E, we're now going to add 2 alternating shorter notes. So we're going to choose our pencil again. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put a note on E, but it's going to be E an octave higher than the E that we added for this long note. So we go to C4, and then we count up 2 more notes, D, E, and that's the E that we want to add. So the first thing I'm going to do with my pencil is just add a note on this E just above C4. That's going to be on beat 1. Now, BandLab has added a nice long note because it thinks that we want these long notes, but actually what we want at the moment is shorter notes. So I'm going to choose my arrow again, pointer tool, and shorten that note down by clicking at the end of the note and dragging so that that note takes up 1 quaver. 1 quaver should be 1 block here up to that very first line, halfway between 1 and 1.2. Okay, so remember, beginning of each bar, this number, the whole number is the bar number, and that's the first beat of the bar. Then we've got the first bar, second beat, first bar, third beat, first bar, fourth beat. Each one of those beats is divided into 2. So each of these spaces here represents a quaver, and we want a quaver on E. Okay, so E just above C4, 1 quaver. Next thing, choose my pencil again. Next note we're going to add is a G, which is below C4. So we're going to count down from C4, B, A, G. So we're on this line here, and we want to add our quaver on the second half of the first beat. So it's not happening at the same time as this note, it's happening in the space just after it, the quaver just after it, and we're on a G, so we're just here. So we've now got an E just above C4 on the first quaver of that beat, and then a G on the second quaver of that beat below C4. Okay, do you want to pause and do that? Next, what we're going to do is use copy and paste, because this is just a repeated pattern through this first bar. So what we can do is select both of those notes. Be careful that you don't select these longer notes as well. We only want these 2 shorter notes. And we can use Alt, drag and drop, or copy and paste. So I'm going to start by doing Alt, drag and drop. So I hold down Alt on my keyboard, grab this first note, E. I'm going to copy those onto 1.2. Let go with my mouse first, then let go with Alt. Once I've done those 2, I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4 notes here. What I can do is now copy all 4 of those notes, grab all 4 of them, get hold of this first one, do Alt, drag and drop. Don't move them up or down because they'll go onto the wrong notes, but move them so you've got those notes starting again on 1.3. So you'll see now we've got 2 quavers on first beat, 2 quavers second beat, 2 quavers third beat, 2 quavers fourth beat, all on the same 2 notes, E higher note, G lower note. Let's just have a listen to what that sounds like. Okay, pause it, have a go at that. I'm going to come and do the next bar in a second. Okay, now we've got our pattern for the first bar. What we can do is we can copy and paste that whole pattern to the second bar, and then we'll just adjust the pitch of the notes like we did with our longer notes. So I'm going to grab all of those 8 quavers, making sure I don't grab the longer notes as part of the chord. I'm then going to copy and paste from that first note. This time I'm going to just use copy and paste function. So right click, copy, and then click over here, right click, paste. It's repeated those notes. Need to make sure first of all that they start exactly on bar 2, because they weren't quite on bar 2 there. In fact, I'll just go back a step and I'll just show you that. So just undo that move that I made. You can just see that that isn't quite on the start of bar 2, and in fact if I zoom in a little bit closer you'll see that that is not quite in time. You can see there, beginning of bar 2, those notes aren't quite in time. I'll zoom out one more time so we get back to where we were. So just grab all those notes, Make sure you grab, they're all selected so you're moving them all at the same time. We're going to move the pitch of these notes down. The top note wants to be moved down to a D. So that's D just above C4. The lower note wants to stay on a G. So what we need to do now is unselect these notes but select the bottom four and then move those up so they're on a G, so that's staying on the same pitch. So from the beginning that should sound like this. Great. Next we are going to do the same thing for bar 3. So pause, sorry, and do your second bar. Next we're going to do the same thing for bar 3, so we'll grab all of those 8 notes. We're going to use Alt this time. Grab that first note. Don't move them up or down yet, but move it so they start. That first note starts on bar 3. Then we want to move these down. I think the top note wants to be a C, so I'm going to grab that first note, move that down so that's on C4. That top note is going to be on C4. The lower note now I think probably wants to be an E, so I think we're just going to move that down one. It's on an F at the moment, that lower note, so we just grab those 4 bottom notes, move that down. Let's just have a listen and just check that's right. That sounds right. Okay, you can pause and do that. So the top note should be C, bottom note should be E. Okay, next we're just going to do that last bar, bar 4. So again, grab those 8 notes, Alt, drag, drop them on bar 4, start at bar 4. The top note now wants to stay on C, so that's fine, we can leave that one there. The bottom note now needs to be F, so just making sure we're dealing with the right notes. Let's put my marker on bar 4, grab those bottom 4 notes, grab those, drag those up one, and then we can hear, that sounds right. From the beginning, it should sound like this. Okay, what we're going to do now is we are going to drag and drop this region and we're going to repeat it here for the next 4 bars, and then we should be able to hear how the chords sound with Lewis Capaldi's vocal. So Alt, drag, drop, and now let go with your mouse first and then let go with Alt, and now we can just move this so it starts on bar 5, so it joins up, touches this one, don't overlap, because that we want that to, this one's going to start as soon as that one finishes. So let's just have a listen, give us a couple of bars lead in and have a listen how that sounds with Lewis Capaldi's vocal.
I'm going under, and this time I feel there's no one to save me.
That sounds pretty good. You could repeat this again for the next 4 bars. Have a listen to it with the next phrase.
This all and nothing really got away, driving me crazy. I need somebody.
And we can carry on looping that now. That goes on for quite some time, but we'll talk about that in a later video. Just make sure you've got all the right notes, all the right rhythms. Repeat the video if you need to. Okay.